CVs. So CV formatting, beating the application robots, an easy CV template to follow. Do you need different CVs for different roles, and free resources? We don't do LinkedIn, we don't do Indeed, we don't do job boards. That's us, right? So they all use an application tracking system. So if we go back to Indeed, so if we go here, I think these are all going to say apply on company site, Fudge Biscuits. Anywho, right, so if you, marvelous. So say you apply on Indeed, right? They'll say like, "Oh, give us all your information and your CV and blah, blah, blah." This is bad. Why? Because we then get screened by two people, by two filters. We get screened by Indeed, and then we get screened by Organox, whoever these people are. What we want to use Indeed for is just to find jobs and then go and apply to the employers directly, right? Because also this is a much bigger pool of people. So LinkedIn and Indeed, one-click apply. If it's easy for you, it's easy for everyone else. If it's easy for everyone else, it's hard for you, right? Why? Because 1,000 people could one-click apply for that job in a day. What are the chances that you're going to get found? I mean, slim to none, right? But if I can get directly towards the employer, I increase my chances of success. So, algorithm, all CVs are passed by an algorithm. Later on, they might get viewed by a human, and that's all fine. But what your CV looks like doesn't really matter. They'll pass for first name, last name, email, phone, city and postcode. You can be in a different country and apply for jobs in the UK. Just make sure you have a UK address. Simple, right? Current position at current company. Skills, we'll go into this a little bit more. So an ATS is looking for specific skills. That's all it's doing. It's just a pattern matching algorithm, right? And I'll show you this in action shortly. Education, generally all they're looking for is matching the modules and also the grade from your degree. So if an eligibility requirements specifically says you need a 2-1, then put 2-1 on your CV. That sounds really obvious. A lot of people miss it out. These are all matching criteria. Right, so beating the application robots. I don't know if you guys have heard of something called JobScan. There are similar things out there, right? If you wanted to do premium, it costs you like $30 a month. If you wanted to do it, I think you can pay, or maybe a bit more, I'm not really sure. But for me, it's always, let me show you something cool. Steal someone's CV, whoever comes up. This is just a client CV, right? Oh my God. No one saw that. Sorry, Jay. Cool. Then you've got your job description. So let's choose whatever, this one. The more in-depth the job description, the better. Bearing in mind, like all this stuff is not really interesting. Most job descriptions, they're like, yeah, we're great and you should work with us and blah, blah, blah. What we're really looking for is what you're going to do and what skills you need. This is not the best job description, but it will do. Here we go. Like these are all the things that you need and blah, blah, blah. So we take that, we put it into JobScan. What we're trying to understand here is how well does this CV match the job description? The higher the percentage, the more likely an automated tracking system, a robot, will say, hey, this is good. He should go through to the next round. This is what I call getting in the door, right? So we scan it. So of course, it's a low match rate, right? Now, this is why I've looked at lots of different types of software, but I like JobScan. It's more expensive, but I'll show you why, because this is really cool. So you can do something that's called a power edit, and I'll show you some tricks that you can do with a CV. Right. So now it's saying this is a terrible match, right? So what I try and do is in most CVs, at the end, you'll have all of this and, you know, this is what I did and blah, blah, blah. So you can just do this. But key skills learned. Right. Now all I'm going to do is just keyword stuff. BMS, rotor, SOPs, automation, diagnostic, engineer. Of course, you want it to make a little bit more sense, right? There you go. So now we're like a 25% better match. Supervising, biochemistry, quality systems. Now we're cooking with gas. You get the idea, right? It's remarkably simple. Now, of course, you can do it so it looks a little bit more natural. And this person's CV is not, it's more based around accounting and finance. So obviously they wouldn't be, but I could engineer that CV so that an ATS would go, this is a good match. He should get an online test. It's nuts. Like, people are still so incorrect in the way that they look at CVs. Because they think, what will it look like? Do I need a pretty template? How should I display it? No one cares, right? The way that I display CVs is just, let me show you something that was edited. And I still have the same thing. I've got it in a template. Final CV editing. Oh, here we go. So I've used this for CVs for like 9 years. So this is not a new thing for me. I display CVs like this. Now, to the human eye, they're not very, it's not pretty, works time and time again. All we do is that we adjust the key skills, whatever the job is asking. We could use something like JobScan, probably you pay for a month. I have no relation to JobScan, by the way. This isn't me trying to sell you stuff. It's just what I use. You will probably triple your response rate just from that, right? It's all about matching the key skills and the experiences that are required to the job and what it entails. I don't know about you, but I just thought that was cool. Yeah, so similar job titles, list keywords, bold section, blah, blah, blah. Another thing to recognize is CVs that are pretty. So I'll show you. Beautiful CV template images. Right. So you might have seen CVs like this. You're like, oh my God, it looks so good. An ATS, which is driven by optical character recognition, can't read this. Right. So it reads from left to right. So it just reads like gobbledygook. Don't have your CV in columns. It looks nice, but a human isn't going to see your CV. If you operate on the fact, because a computer is very smart and also very dumb, it is a tool. It does not have, sentient ability for now. Oh, sorry, pup. Cool. I know. I'm sorry. Aim for at least 400 words in your CV. Try to have measurable results in your experience, like time saved, money made, increase in sales, or results achieved. I'll show you an example of this. So say, for example, you talked about, I've written several reports for senior management. Right. This is better saying, I've written 6 reports up to 35 pages to be analysed by senior managers. Be specific, quantify your results. Did you sell stuff? How much did you sell? Did you analyse stuff? How much did you analyse? Be as specific as possible. Most people miss out the specifics, but this is an idea that will come across when we talk about interviews, which is the human mind thinks in pictures, right? We'll get to that bit. Cool. CV plus job spec equals happiness. So if you're missing a job specification, just go to prospects.ac.uk. They're brilliant. I've used them all the time for years. And then just include some of the skills. Amendments for CVs, it doesn't need to be massive. By the time that you get the hang of it, it might be like 1 to 2 minutes, and that'll be it. Like here's an example skills list for financial risk analyst. So we just take some of those and put it into our key skills in our CV. Yeah, then we're going to be a really good match when it comes up. Do you need different CVs for different roles? Yeah, it's a good idea, but just have them as templates. Always save your CV as a PDF. Why? Because formatting. That's why. PDF has a fixed format, which is recognized by most ATS systems. Otherwise, if you're like working on an Apple Mac and you save it as a whatever it is, it's a bit squiffy. No more than 2 pages, arrange in chronological order, size 12 font or bigger. The reason why I say this is because a human will eventually read it. And if they can't read it, then, you know, your 6-point font probably wasn't a good idea. If you're like, oh, my CV is longer than 2 pages, you say too much. You need to cut it down. You know, I've had professionals in their 50s and I would chop that down to 2 pages, right? And just like we said, avoid designs.